Okay, so we got this thing done, and I'm going to go over it in some detail. If you're interested, feel free to watch. If not, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you move on. I make a lot of weird stuff. But what this is a hydroponic or aquaponics. I think it's called aquaponics because we're using fish down here in the bottom for the fertilizer for the plants. So the fish poop, it goes back in the system, fertilizes the plants, and works like that as a cycle. Now, in general, this whole thing, well, let's say in general, the whole thing is obviously made from PVC. All this stuff right here is 2-inch PVC. The middle pieces there where the plants are is 3-inch. And then when you go up here to the top where your water's coming from, that is 3/4 inch. We have 12 plants. Obviously, we have 3 rows, 4 columns. And each of those plants are in these little clay beads. There's no soil in any of this stuff. Underneath here, there's a little bit of coconut, this stuff here, coconut mesh, just underneath here, right over the cap. And the cap has got like 4 or 5 holes drilled into it to help that fluid drain out into these larger pipes, and then it cycles back down in the system. Now, the plant containers themselves are just 1-gallon water jugs, and we have to use this very particular water jug that has this little spiral because that's what fits into this part here, which is 2 pieces that are identical that essentially grab the end of that water jug and let you stick it into the pipes. Now, a great thing about this is that, say you have a plant that needs more light or less light, or for whatever reason you need to move it to a different section, we can just pull out the whole thing, move it, and put it back into another one. You can also, if you made a different row, say you had one of these that was like 10 feet long or different setups like that, you can use the same deal, have the hole drilled, and just put those in place like that. It's a pretty nice little feature, but the downside is that it's only made for this particular water bottle. It won't work for any type of bottle. As for the liquid system here, the dispensing, we have our little tank here on the bottom, which is just a tote. You can see the fish in there doing their thing. We have a pump here in the back that is hooked into Home Assistant, so we can auto turn it on and off. And then on the other side is the drain line come back in. The pump pumps up here to this. This feeds water. This is a sanitary 4-way. Feeds water into this line and then back out on this line here and back down into the system. Each of these correspond to a column here. So top, middle, bottom. So you know which one you're adjusting whenever you see, say you want a faster drip on one plant than the other, then you can easily tell which one you're adjusting. You can adjust it out. On the back side of here, initially the plan was to have a water container right here, which, yeah, it didn't work too well. Have a water container and then just let these gravity feed down. But it honestly didn't work all that well. So now what we have is basically we have active pressure going in here, and we had to put another valve for a little bit of back pressure. Otherwise, you get a siphon effect where it will pull air up into it and then push it back down into the fish tank. So now you have a little valve on here where you can adjust the back pressure. That also lets you quickly adjust. Say it's a really hot day, or it's going to be really hot, and you just want to quickly add pressure to the whole thing where they're all dripping faster. Then you can just turn this, give it a little more back pressure, and the whole system will start, equivalently pumping whatever amount you have turned there. But she works, and she works good. Our flow is pretty decent down here. We may move this up higher somewhere for the fish to give them like more aeration in here if we need to. I haven't really thought about that, but we're not going to touch this for a while. This thing is, as far as I'm concerned, for the moment done. And then we have all these set up to drip at different levels for different plants. For instance, our tomato here is dripping awfully fast. This one is dripping too fast, honestly. That's the bottom. Just tweak that just a bit. There we go. And our bottom on the other side, maybe a little bit faster on that one. There we go. We got a bunch of herbs in here. I think that's a pepper, that's a tomato, and then the rest, that's strawberry. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think we're going to be good to go. We're going to set this thing to run probably about 10 a.m. to around 4 or 5. We'll have to look and see. and we're just going to test it.